This Photoshop video is going to look at image size and resolution, as well as a little new feature. It's not so new now, CS4 being a bit old, but it's called content aware scaling. So the first thing to be aware of is the fact that image size and resolution are extremely important when dealing with, especially in this case, bitmapped photos. So this will affect us if we're going to print our photo, or even for things such as the web or what we're going to see on the screen. The picture we actually see on the screen is not an actual indication of the size or the quality of what would be printed or what might appear on a website. There are a few factors that affects this. So we have the pixel dimensions, which are the number of pixels that make up an image horizontally and vertically. We have our image size, so this determines the actual width and the height of our image. And then there's the resolution, which is the density of the pixels in a printed image. And remember, the greater the resolution, the better the quality, but also the higher memory storage that you will require for the image. Now, to change the actual image size and resolution of a picture in Photoshop is quite easy, but you just have to be careful that you actually know what you're doing with it. So to change our image resolution or size, we're going to go to Image and Image Size. Now in here is all our options that we need to change our pixel dimensions and our document size. You will notice that there are little padlocks on these two. What that means is whatever value I change, so if I change the width, Photoshop will automatically put in the correct height for me, so everything will stay in proportion. So if I was to uncheck that, I would actually lose the option of the width and height being in proportion. I would have to determine what my width would be and what my height would be. So if I was to type in 500 here, the height will automatically be determined for me. Now for this image, I'm going to make it larger first. So at the moment it's 1772 pixels. I'm going to make that 2200 pixels. Now you'll see at the top here, it now tells me what the new file size is going to be. It was 6 megabytes, it's now going to be just over 9. So obviously by putting a greater pixel dimensions, the resolution is going up, therefore the image size is going up. One thing you need to be careful of with bitmapped images though is, by making this larger, Photoshop actually has to invent the pixels that are going to go in there to make it bigger. So when I go OK, the quality here still looks quite good. If I was to go even larger though, the image would become pixelated and it would lose quality. This time I'm going to make it a bit smaller. I'm going to make it 800, and you'll notice that the size now has reduced quite a bit. It's now 1.22. So when I click OK, the image now becomes quite small. Now if I wanted to make some changes to my canvas, I could do that. So let's say I wanted to make my canvas a little bit larger. I wanted to add something to this image. I could just go to Image, Canvas Size, and in here, at any time I can make changes to my actual canvas. So in this case I'm going to make it, and it's going to add in that black background around my image, which I could continue to work with. Final thing we're going to do here is looking at something called content aware scaling. So I'm going to take my seagull image here, I'm going to change the image size, and then I'm going to put some content aware scaling into it. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my image size, and I'm going to make this image printable. So I want it to be something that I'm going to print. Now 72 pixels per inch is quite good for screen resolution, but if I want a high quality image to print, I'm going to want about 300 ppi. And I'm also going to want to reduce the size of this image. So I'm going to make it about 6 centimeters in height. And you'll notice that all the values are changed automatically to accompany what I've asked for. When I click OK, the image reduces in size somewhat, and I'm now going to use content aware scaling. Now if you're not quite sure what scaling is, you'll see a really good example of it when we do our content aware scaling to the image. To make this work, I need to select my entire image, so I'm going to press Ctrl A, and I'm then going to go to Edit, Content Aware Scaling. Now I could either just click on any of these little squares here and use my content aware scaling, or I could actually type in the values that I want at the top here. You'll notice there's a little man and this little man is protect skin tone. This is quite good if you have an image of people. You would have this ticked, and it actually makes the image come out far more realistic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my seagulls here, and I'm going to make the width, instead of 100%, I'm going to make it around about 66%. And what you'll notice with the scaling is the image will become squashed. This large gap will disappear. However, all of the seagulls will maintain that same proportion in the image, which is what the scaling is doing for us, and it's doing it automatically. So I'm going to type in 66%. So I'm going to make this 66. I'm going to make it 0.7%, and you'll notice that the seagulls have been squashed together. All that dead space in between them has been removed. However, they are all still in proportion to one another. So content-aware scaling does that for us in Photoshop automatically. So if there's any images that you need to stretch or condense, and you can't do it by using the crop tool or things of that nature, content-aware scaling is a great tool that can allow you to do this with ease and also with great results.